Welcome back. In this assignment, we're going to cover how to loft with a twist. And what that means is, currently you have been shown how to loft two different shapes with a transition from one shape to the other in this way. But what if we wanted to transition and twist the transition as it goes from one shape to the other without actually changing the wide to the narrow, keeping the narrow to the narrow? Well, let's cover that. This is the scoring for this project and this assignment. It's not quite a full-fledged project, it's just a mini project quiz. It's only worth 40 points, but each stage of the way is worth about 5. And this will be included on Moodle, and it's either PowerPoint or PDF. So let's begin by sketching our first rectangle. So we shall create a new sketch. We're sticking with metric, and there's metric, standard metric, create. Okay, first step to make life easy is to make all of your axis lines visible. So just right click on these, click on visibility for all three of them. That makes it easier to select them. And let's begin our sketch, 2D sketch, on this plane right here, the XZ plane, or as I fondly call it, the build plane. Okay, so it has oriented itself sideways, of course, the top laying on the side. We'll let that go. So we will use the center dot rectangle right here, the 2-point center, and we'll draw it somewhere near the axis. Make it, should be about 15 by 6. So 15 tall and about 6 millimeters wide. That's close. So let's start dimensioning it. We'll make the narrow side 6 even. Make this back side 15 even. We'll constrain it, the center right here, to this axis line right here, the z-axis. And then we shall dimension it to be 20 millimeters from the center dot to the center point of origin. 20 millimeters. Okay, we'll just slide that over a little bit. And let's check our work. That looks about right. 6, 15, and 20. So go back to our sketch and say finish sketch. Okay. So let's check our instructions. The next page is to sketch this rectangle on the XY plane. I'll go back to our sketch and we will choose start a 2D sketch, and here is the XY plane right here. So we'll click on that, push it down a little bit, give ourselves some room. Again, the center dot rectangle, but the rectangle is going to go up and down this time. Something like that. That's close. And let's do our dimensions. We want it to be 6 millimeters on top, 15 millimeters on the side, and we want it to be from the center dot to that center dot 20 millimeters, and we want to constrain that center dot to that axis line right there. So here's our constraint, coincident constraint, the center dot to that axis. Let's check our work. Yep, that's what it looks like. So we'll finish that sketch. And we'll bring it down a little bit here. Okay, so now it looks like that. Fantastic. Now the next step is to loft it. So we will go ahead and loft it. Okay, so back to Inventor. And let's start with the loft command right here. We'll click to add the first section right here just by touching that red line. And when we click on it, make sure that fills in, which it has. Now let's add our second sketch right here. And it has lofted in the normal way. Alright, so when we go back and look at our directions, there we are, we're at that point right now. The next step is to soften the curve of it by going over to the Conditions tab and changing the free conditions to direction conditions and giving the weight of 1 for each. So let's do that now. Conditions tab, change the first drop box from free condition to direction condition, and weight came in as 1. That's what we want it to be. Do the same for the second one, direction condition. Notice this has softened the curve to a weight of 1. Perfect. Almost hit OK, but we have more to go. Here's where the magic begins. We're going to go to the Transition tab. We have not used that yet. And under here where it says Automatic Mapping, we're going to change the way that these green lines decide which corners to run to. And you'll see that here when we bring up back to Inventor, Transition tab. When we turn off Automatic Mapping, now you don't see that big pink shape, but you do see these green lines. Except one is red. That would be the ones that's selected. As you select these by clicking on them, you can see that these lines change color. Okay. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. And then automatic mapping maps them automatically. Turning it off reveals them. Okay. Now I notice one thing here, and I've run into this before with Inventor. Set 4, interesting how it's over here. And when I've run this before, set 4 is over here. Set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4 represent each of these lines that go from corner to corner. So that represents a little bit of confusion, but not too bad. And I have not seen a way how you can move these around. So what it ends up happening is what we want to do is we want to remove one of these lines, which opens up a corner, and then we want to move all these other lines in a fashion that puts a twist to this. Moves it from one corner to the next, pretty much in a counterclockwise motion. So we'll figure out which line this one is. It looks like it's set 3. And let's remove that one. We'll go back to our instructions here. And of course on our instructions it says set 4. How unfortunate. Yeah, and we will remove that line, and that leaves an open. And then you can see right here, here's where the current line is for the next one. And then we will move it to the new location like that. These this is the PowerPoint that will be included, and you'll be able to download it and look at it. There's also a PDF variant to go with it. So we'll start here. We'll ignore the names of the sets, and we'll do it by the lines that match the instructions. Alright, so that line right there, we want to remove it, so I have it highlighted, And you remove it by hitting the delete button on your keyboard. And now it is gone. Okay, so now we need to find out which line this one is. It looks like right there is set number 2. Now the easiest way to move this, I find, is if you zoom in to where you can't see the rectangle above, just only see the one below here, this foot rectangle. When you click on the set line, it is on an automatic edit mode to where you can move that line. Like, see, I touched that corner, and that heavy red line shows up. If I click on that, notice this one disappeared. It is now over here. So that brought it over this way. Now I want to move this green line right here over to this corner here. So let's figure out which one is the green line. It's called set 1 in this particular example. And that's the one I want to move. Now that I have it focused in here, I want to move it to this corner right here. So I'm going from that corner to that corner. In kind of a counterclockwise fashion, I'm moving them to the corner before, cuckoo clockwise. So we'll put it there. That corner's open. Now I want this line to come back counterclockwise to this corner. And we're going to identify it by clicking around, and there it is. That one's called set 3. So we'll bring that one over to here. Click on it. Good. So now what that leaves us with is an open corner without any lines to put in it. We've done all 3 of them. We'll click to add. And we'll focus ourselves on set 4 by clicking on it. And now we can zoom in like we were and find the corner to that open corner. Click on it. And then zoom out and zoom in and find the open one on this sketch here, which is right here. And we'll click on it. And that has drawn in the set 4 line. Now, when you click OK, there's your twist. And that is your assignment. Hopefully the instructions will match what you've done, but be advised, they might not. So if they don't come out perfectly, you'll have to do some investigating, which is basically what I did by clicking on them and finding which line to do individually, and then moving in that counterclockwise fashion. So let me know if you have difficulties with this. This is a little tricky. And I'm available anytime you need. Just shoot me a message, and it pops an email in my inbox, and I will respond to you. And we can do a shared desktop if all else fails. But hopefully this video will help you. And hopefully the instructions will work out for you flawlessly. That's a lot of hopes. But at least you've seen what we're trying to accomplish. And let me know if it's confusing, and we'll fix it. Okay, good luck.